Thank you for reading What If Magazine, the only 100% free entertainment magazine on the internet. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below in the comment section after the video's over. Cheers!
Hello there. I am Nick Murdoch, and I will be your host for the evening. Along with that, I am also the author of the article that I am about to read to you. A journey of 40 years and 1,000 miles to reach the sound of salvation, by yours truly, Nick Murdoch. For Jeremy Carr, 40 years of dreams and nightmares feels less like a new album and more like the culmination of a long, unrelenting artistic road. Every note bears the marks of time, the late nights, false starts, the devotion that never flinched. It's an album, written, played, arranged, produced, and sung entirely by Carr himself. A singular approach that recalls Prince, at his most hands-on and uncompromising. This is not simply a record, it's a complete vision. Across his weeping arc, Dreams and Nightmares balances private longing with a larger-than-life myth-making. Carr sings like a man who has lived inside songs long enough to know their weight. He builds them with cinematic detail, grand yet intimate, wounded yet defiant. From the first track to the last, the album moves like a novel, equal parts confession and epic. Two songs stand as its emotional pillars. 1,000 Miles Away is Carr's tender salute to Lisa Marie Presley, the princess of rock and roll. A song that honors her humanity, her courage, her heart, her complicated light, with grace and restraint. It is a love letter, unlined by nostalgia, written instead in empathy and truth. Its counterpart, The Sound of Salvation, roars with gratitude and awe, paying homage to Elvis Presley and the fire he ignited in music history. It is a declaration of lineage, an influence, a reminder that all of Carr's dreaming is rooted in the revolution of rock and roll. What elevates the album beyond tribute or autobiography is its emotional ambition. Carr turns memory, fantasy, grief, and devotion into something larger than life, something that feels like myth made modern. One of the record's most astonishing accomplishments is his imaginative feat of effectively bringing Lisa Marie back to life for a duet that exists in the space between worlds. It is not a gimmick, it is a conversation across time. Two voices, two souls, meeting in a place where music still has the power to heal. Throughout, Carr's musicianship is peerless and personal. He plays every instrument, shapes every melody, and builds every arrangement with meticulous care. The result is a sound that feels both timeless and intimate, steeped in the tradition of American music, yet unmistakably his own. Dreams and Nightmares also carries a spirit of continuation. Carr's a storyteller who writes in sequels and cycles, inviting listeners to return, to remember, to reconnect. The album suggests that the past is never really gone. If we're willing to listen closely and if we're willing to dream, after 40 years, Carr hasn't just reached the sound of salvation, he's built a bridge to it. Now, if page 1 was the story of the journey, this is where The Sound of Salvation reveals its map and its meaning. Carr is not mining nostalgia, he is authoring it. Every lyric, every harmony, every guitar, keyboard, bass line, and drum hit was written, arranged, recorded, and performed by him. The comparison to Prince isn't about the style or influence, it's about self-containment, the refusal to wait for permission. Carr built this record like a private studio kingdom, and then opened the gates. The Lisa Marie Presley duet on All I Need Is You is the emotional center of that kingdom.
It feels less like a stunt.
More like a seance of empathy. Two voices from different centuries meeting in a place only music can build. Carr treats her presence with reverence, not spectacle. What arrives is resurrection through imagination. Technology as a vessel, love as the current, song as the bridge. As a standalone track, All I Need Is You is aching and immediate. A plea and a promise wrapped in a cinematic pop soul. 1,000 Miles Away is Carr at his most confessional. A letter written in real time to a legend whose fire still lights his path. And the sound of salvation then lifts the curtain and widens the lens, reaching beyond the personal into the American musical mythos. Gospel, rock, country, and cinema, all braided together like threads in an old scarlet banner. Carr's sequel impulse is never far from the surface. He writes in chapters, not snapshots. The story continues. Wasn't a marketing tagline. It was a vow. On 40 Years of Dreams and Nightmares, that vow becomes structure. The songs circle back to unfinished dreams, old fires, and new meanings. They ask what it takes to keep believing when the dream both sustains and wounds you. The title says everything. 40 Years of Dreams and Nightmares. It's not a boast, it's a ledger. 40 years of aspiration. Of rooms above garages, borrowed gear, late-night mixes, and songs aimed for more at heaven than at the radio. 40 Years of Nightmares, too. Doubt detours the quiet cost of chasing beauty. Carr doesn't smooth those edges, he shapes them into the record's dramatic arc. Because it's a one-man band, the album flows like a film. Motifs return, keys glimmer in the dark. Guitars speak in a dialogue with the past. Drums push like a heartbeat. You can hear the cut-to-black moments, the close-ups, the long road shots. It is cinematic without being grandiose. Intimate without being small. What sets the album apart is not just craftsmanship, though the musicianship is formidable, but commitment. Carr risks sentiment. He risks sincerity. He trusts the listener to feel the weight of every word. He doesn't hide behind irony or distance. He steps forward, hands empty, heart wide open. The result is unusually personal work that somehow feels universal. If you've loved someone beyond reach, chased a dream that chased you back, or asked whether there's still a sound that can save you, this record meets you there. In the end, the sound of salvation is more than a pinnacle. It's a turning point. It honors Elvis by extending his spirit of musical devotion, that insistence that a song can be both prayer and rebellion. It honors Lisa Marie by meeting her voice in the light, not in the archive. And it honors the listener by turning private longing into a moment, into a kind of sharing mythology. 40 years, thousands of miles, one record that holds them all. This is not the end of the story, my friends. This is the sound of what happens when the story finally speaks. Now, once again, I am your host of the evening and author of this article, Nick Murdoch, wishing you all farewell and good luck, and we'll see you on the flip side.